models so that the body can begin to experience things like sensation, taste, touch, the image of a hamburger, can experience the desire for a hamburger, the requirement of a hamburger for sustenance, for all kinds of things, for fat and salt, and and um, and so it's in this embodied kind of wetware that the software of the mind can experience, understand, comprehend, and relate to the representations. Where all that sits in relationship to spectatorship is interesting. I actually don't buy it, and I don't think you do either. But it is interesting. I don't buy that there are spectators and spectacles. I think that that's definitely a language that's in operation, but I don't think that operation or that language is representative of shared experience. The spectacle's aim is to render the subject passive, and I think that it succeeds. Quite often it does. A demonstration of power or violence or great skill, or through various methods of using the camera from underneath in a film, or using spectacular explosions or effects in propaganda and advertising, or spectacular looking bodies, etc., on enormous billboards or glossy magazine covers, does absolutely and very successfully and intelligently manipulate the spectator or the viewer. But I tend to think that it's, if we think of things just in these master-slave relationships, you kind of have to believe in that the master is the master and the slave is the slave. And I think you touched on this in your criticism of conspiracy theories and that sort of thing. I think that that's really important. I think that these master-slave relationships are myths, but they're myths that are playing out, and they're myths that people believe and that they're acting out. The terrorists try to pacify the subject through the spectacle of terror, and the state tries to pacify the subject through its spectacles, but no one's being pacified. People are being manipulated, cajoled, but I don't think there's actually any manipulation taking place. I think there is manipulation taking place, but I don't think there's any passivity in this relationship. And just as you said, George Bush is a spectator, the president is a spectator, the elites are spectators as much as they are producing the spectacles. And that's how I think things operate. So I think things like YouTube are a little bit more kind of honest in the way language and representation function. Now, on to science. My position on science, I am interested in science. We're living in a very scientific age. It's sort of the age of positivism. And I lean towards Nietzsche, or however you want to pronounce it. I think there's a lot of myth in science. And this is where it gets, the waters get muddy. But I think the myth of a rational, objective exchange is probably a flaw in Habermas's argument to a certain degree, but it's certainly a flaw in scientific ideas. I'm reading a book at the moment, and I might talk more about this later on, and hopefully you've got something to say on the subject. if you've got a scientific background. But I love science. I'm a computer programmer. I'm absolutely fascinated with digital technology and the scientific, the quantum physics involved. I'm an amateur astronomer. I love, the all the effects of the universe that were produced, the mysteries of gravity, the grandeur of optics, and obviously we live in a world where we can send a satellite to Pluto, so we're doing something right, and I don't think science is wrong. I'm not putting forward that kind of simplistic argument, but I do question the mythological status of objectivity within science. I think there's a lot more at play. I think the scientists aren't giving themselves credit enough. And there are some scientists that have touched on, the observer affecting the experiment, etc. But I think that this is very much an area of science that is in infancy. But that's once again part of this relationship between representation and the speaker, or the signifier and the signified and the referent, to use sort of linguistic language. Or semiotic language. But yeah, anyway, I think all of that stuff is in play, and I haven't decided yet, but I suspect a lot of the myths of science are yet to be discovered. This is a great conversation, Matthew. This is the first time I've done 2 posts in a day, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, take care. I'll talk to you soon. Ciao.